Hello, and welcome to the Knitting with Cat Hair podcast. My name is Nikki. I am also known as Knitting with Cat Hair on Instagram and Cat Hair Knitting on Ravelry. I am coming to you from Sudbury, Ontario, Canada, which lies atop the traditional lands of the Ottagamashing and Anishinaabe people, where I live with my partner, our 2 daughters, and our 5 cats. Hence the name of the podcast, as I'm always finding cat hair in my knitting. So a big warm welcome to all new viewers and a big welcome back to all returning viewers. This is my little corner of the internet where I talk about all the things, all the crafty things that I'm delving into. It's mostly focused on knitting, but sometimes there's splashes of crochet, cross stitch, embroidery, spinning, natural dyeing, and sewing and thrown in there. All right. So first off, I just want to say Happy New Year. Happy 2024. I hope that the year has started off well for everyone and that you had a wonderful holiday season and that, you're getting lots of making done. All right, so I'm going to start off with a few admin things up front. First off, I am running a Jennifer Beale make-along over on Instagram. It started October 1st last year and it will run until September 30th of this year. So there is lots of time to participate. The rules are pretty simple. You just basically have to make a Jennifer Beale pattern. You don't have to finish it. You just have to post pictures of it with the hashtag BealeAlong over on Instagram. And I've mentioned this before. If you are not an Instagram user, but you'd still like to participate in the make-along, you are more than welcome to email me. I always put my email and my information in the description down below. You can email me a picture of your work in progress or your finished object, and I will, if you're amenable to it, I will post it on your behalf so that you can be entered into the draw for prizes. And I will be pulling 2 names for prizes, and I think I said I was going to do one kind of halfway through and then one at the end. So yeah. There's been several projects that have been started, and I think I need to send out a little reminder too now that things have calmed down with the holiday season and stuff. I know for myself, I had put my Jennifer Beale project on hold for a little bit because it was just a little too crazy, but I'm back at it now, and so I'm hoping others are too, and that there's people casting on. And yes, so all the information can be found down below in the description, like I said. And if you ever have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Okay. Also, just a word of warning. So since I'm filming inside, I know the lighting is not ideal. It's a struggle. Lighting, sound are the 2 biggest issues when podcasting. But anyway, so not only do we have the lighting that's playing a bit of an issue, I also have 5 cats, as I mentioned, and they are, I don't know, a little rangy today. So apologies up front if there's any distractions. I'm looking at a cat right now. That's why I'm looking this way, because he's climbing into all my things. Anyways, I will try my best not to get too distracted. Okay. So let's talk about some making. First off, I'll talk about what I'm wearing. So today I am wearing my Chestnut cardigan, which is a pattern by Marie Wallin. I finished this lovely all over Colourwork cardigan, I think it was in 2022. Yeah, it wasn't last year, it was the year before. And yes, this was my first time doing like kind of an all over Colourwork project. And I've got the Colourwork bug. So afterwards I wanted to make all the Colourwork things, and that's still continuing to this day. So anyways, yes, I really love it. I'm going to be honest and reveal a dirty secret, but I have not finished weaving in all of my ends because when I made this, I didn't know the trick of weaving in your ends as you go, which I now do on all of my Colourwork projects to save me, because I hate weaving in ends. But yes, I do a little bit every once in a while. Every time I wear it kind of thing, I'll pick it up and I'll weave in a few more ends. And anyways, one day they'll all be done. So that is what I'm wearing. See, I'm already getting distracted. Cat just stole a ball of my yarn. It's okay. I don't need to show it today. But anyways, okay. So I'll talk about finished objects. So some of these, if you were following along with my holiday vlogs, you may have seen these already. But I thought, you know, there's a lot of people who don't watch vlogs, and this was my first time doing Vlogmas. I'll talk about it maybe at the end in life stuff or whatever. But yeah, it's quite the thing. It's quite the commitment. Spoiler, I didn't make it all the way through to Christmas. But anyways, so I'm going to recap some of the objects that I showed on there. And one of them, the first one I'm going to talk about, I do not have with me currently because it was a gift knit. So I'll pop a picture in. These are I'm calling them watermelon vanilla socks. So there isn't a real pattern for them. They are just a vanilla sock, my standard vanilla sock pattern, which is 64 stitches on US 1 2.25 millimeter needles, knit top down with a heel flap, a slip stitch heel flap and gusset. And I made these for my stepdaughter Abby, and the reason they're called watermelon socks is because it is a self-patterning yarn that I used, and the yarn is from Schuckemeyer Regia. It's called Cotton Tutti Frutti, and like I said, it's the watermelon colorway. So this yarn, which I was not aware of when I purchased it, of course the name does say cotton in it, I just wasn't paying attention. Anyways, it's 72% cotton, 18% nylon, and 10% polyester. So I wasn't sure how they were going to hold up, being that they're cotton. They are washable. You can throw them in the washing machine and the dryer, which I've already done with no problem. I just am not sure like if they're going to stretch, but I think someone it might have been Emily Kate, I think, who mentioned it, that she has knit with this yarn before, and that, yeah, it doesn't stretch out of shape or anything like that. So yeah, she recommended it. So that's great. I hope they wear well. So I had finished earlier and I showed it on the podcast episode with my mom that I filmed, my holiday special. That I also made a pair of kiwi vanilla socks out of the same yarn, but the kiwi colorway, for my daughter. So they got those for Christmas and they both loved them. Okay, so the next finished object I wanted to talk about is the Cotswold Henley. So this was a pullover that I was knitting for my partner John, and I managed to finish it before Christmas. And this is it. And the color never shows up nicely. It always shows up as this like khaki kind of dull green, but it is beautiful in person. So this is the pattern. You can see there's two different stitch patterns on it. And then it's got a little buttoned up collar. And yeah, he's been wearing it a lot. He really likes it. And what's lovely about this is the stitch pattern here is called, I think that's the Henley rib. It's really stretchy. So I was a little worried because when you did it, I mean, it looks small, but it's got a lot of give. So it fits him, and I could have probably made it a little bit longer, but it looks really nice on him. It looks very, very debonair. And so, yeah, he loves it. And I made it out of Cascade 220 Heathers in the colorway Olive Heather. And it's a really nice 100% non-superwash wool that is really soft. So if you have people in your life who are very anti-wool because they think it's very itchy, this is a really nice alternative. Gosh, like, I don't know how it's so soft. It's really soft. I think it's a Peruvian Highland wool or something like that. But anyways, yes, very nice. And my partner is one of those people who thinks wool is itchy. I think he had a bad experience when he was younger, and I think we all maybe can relate to this, because I know I can. Where our moms made us, or an aunt or some family member made us this wool sweater, 100%, you know, wool sweater that was really itchy. And yes, so I think he has bad connections with it, but I'm hoping to change that. Slowly and surely I am. I'm working him up to let Lopi. That is my goal. In fact, I'll get to it after, but I am knitting him currently a cardigan out of Alaphos Lopi. Oops, my cat is rubbing. Don't. Oh, every time I try and film, this one particular cat, Sammy, goes crazy, and I don't know why. Anyways, what was I going to say about this pattern? I wanted to say, well, in terms of needle sizes, I used a US 5, which is a 3.75 millimeter for the ribbing, and I used a US 7, 4.5 millimeter for the rest. It is knit bottom up. I'm trying to remember. So I think you start by knitting in the round, and then when you get to the sleeve holes or whatever, where the sleeves will be, you start knitting flat back and forth, doing the front and back separate, and then you join them together on the shoulders with a 3 needle bind off, I think. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking out now. I think so. And then you pick up and knit the sleeves down. So yes, I think that's how it's done. Oh my gosh, my memory is so bad if I don't talk about these things right away. Anyways, I'm very happy with how it turned out. I will say that I had a lot of issues with it, and I put it in the naughty corner numerous times, but in the end, I'm glad that I persevered and finally finished it, and he loves it. Like I said, he wears it all the time. It's awesome. Okay, next finished object. So I'm making our family some Christmas stockings. I've wanted to do this forever, and it took me so long to finally decide on the patterns. That's what took forever. The knitting itself is super quick. I just took forever to decide. And I'm a very seasonal knitter. So for instance, right now, since we're into, mid to late January now, I'm over the Christmas stuff and I don't want to work on Christmas things anymore. So this is going to go into hibernation, the work in progress anyways. So I was able to finish my stepdaughter Abby's Christmas stocking. This is what it looks like. And it's really pretty. I love, like I said, I love color work. So this is just so much fun to work on. And they do knit up really quickly. I just have to devote time to them. So they're knit toe up. So I cast on with is it Judy's Magic Toe? Is that the word? Judy's Magic Toe? I think so. Anyways, you cast on at the bottom and you work your way up, and you insert I guess it's like a heel flap and gusset, really. And there's this pretty Peary pattern on the bottom, and the pattern gives you several options for different borders that you can use. So I chose these pyramid borders, and then I went in and duplicate stitch the name on afterwards, which I think it turned out really well this time. I'm really happy with it. I watched a tutorial. I'll put a link down below to the tutorial that I watched, because originally, so I had already finished our daughter's, our youngest's Christmas stocking. This is hers. So they're not the same. They're different patterns, and different colors, obviously. But yes, this was my first attempt at duplicate stitch here for her name. And you can see that there's a solid column between the two stitches here, 2 columns here. And I don't like that. So whatever I did, and it happened on each one, whatever I did, I don't like it. So I'm going to take this out and redo it and do it the proper way, like this, see? There's no gap between the stitches. like there is on this one. So anyways, I obviously got better at the skill, or I watched a better tutorial that showed me how to do it better. And I saved it because I wanted to make sure I could do it again. So yes, I have finished 2 of our family's Christmas stockings. I have 2 more to go. And I know we're talking about finished objects, but I'm going to go into works in progress just because I have it out as already. And so I went, while I was feeling the Christmas knitting, I guess, I cast on for my partner's Christmas stocking. And his is a diamond pattern. And so I put little diamonds at the bottom. It's so cute. It's fun trying to decide which patterns you want to use, and yeah, it's really, really fun. Oh, and this is a cute little gingerbread stitch marker or progress keeper that I got in my advent calendar this year. So I just put it on there. And yeah, so this will be hibernating until probably in November when we have our first snowfall, and then I'll pull out all the Christmas knits. Actually, this is probably my only Christmas knit. I'm just thinking. I don't think I have anything else. But yes, so the yarn that I'm using to make all of my Christmas stockings is Briggs & Little Sport. This colorway, I don't know if it'll show up. It is called Green Heather, I think, or Dark Green Heather. Did I write that down? Green Heather. And it has all these little like different colored, you can't see it. It's heathered. It has all these different colors in it, like blue and orange and red and yellow, and it's just so pretty. It just adds such depth to the yarn. I love heathered yarns. I think they're like probably my favorite if I had to choose. So yes, I'm using 2 colors. I think the white is called washed white and green heather. And then for the red, I'm using the washed white and maroon. And it's not heathered, this one. So yeah, so oh, I forgot to mention, so these Christmas stockings are by Dorene Delaney Giordano. And she has a whole slew of different patterns. So I purchased one pattern that comes with 3 different designs, and they're called A Collection of 3 Christmas Stockings. And then that's what so John's is going to be out of that collection, Abby's is out of that collection, but Lily's was a different pattern called Uncle's Christmas Stocking. So there we go. And then once I get John's done, I get to start mine. I'm excited to do my own. And then I'd really like to do them for the grandparents too. I think that'd be really nice. So that when we have people over for Christmas, they have stockings that are personalized. It's really fun. And oh, and I forgot one more thing. So what I did was, and this is in the pattern, it does provide details on how to do this. It's very simple. Basically, to make the cuff a little sturdier or more substantial, I guess, you can knit extra amount of fabric. So at the end of, like at the top of the cuff, you would just put a purl, I think it's just one row of pearls, and then that creates a nice fold so that you can fold in that extra fabric inside. And then you could leave it like that theoretically and just have, it just gives the cuff more stability, because you're gonna have to be able to hang your stocking too, right? But what I'm hoping to do, and my mom I have video footage to back me up. She has agreed to line the inside of the stockings for me with some fabric. So we'll just attach it to the end of that knitted section and put a thin lining in there just to keep it, just to keep the stocking itself nice. And even though I caught all my floats, so you can see I caught all my floats, but it'd still be nice just so things don't get caught and so it doesn't get ruined. So yes, that is one more thing that needs to be done on those. So they're not fully done actually. Okay. Next finished object is my Persian tiles blanket. So this is a crochet pattern by Janie Crow. I purchased a kit from Mary Maxim. They have different color version kits for the it comes with the pattern. They are all acrylic, as far as I know. I didn't see any that weren't. Mary Maxim pretty much is almost exclusively like acrylic yarns. There might be some cotton and stuff, but I wasn't able to find any wool. So I got the kit from Mary Maxim. I got it in the sandalwood colorway. However, when it arrived, I realized how blue it was. So it came with this like blue yarn that I didn't care for. I'm not a blue fan. So I don't know how to show this. I'll pop in a picture. I've taken a picture of it. It's not the best quality, but you can see at least the whole, or at least half the blanket in one shot, because it's just too hard for me to show you. But I have finished it. I have to weave in all the 70 million ends, or at least, yes. I did try to weave in as I was going, but I find it difficult with crochet. So I'll have to do that. And, oh, what was I saying? So it came with a blue. I substituted brown. So like here, you can see there's browns. Those should have been blue. I just didn't, like I said, I didn't care for the blue. And in retrospect, I wish I would have changed the gray as well, because it's kind of a blue-gray. But anyways, I'm very happy with it. I went ahead and did my own version of the border. I think I may have followed some of the instructions, but I changed up the colors for sure. So I experimented, and you can see that on my Christmas, my Vlogmas. I was trying to get it finished, and I had started the border in pinks, I think. And I took that out, and I decided on gold and purple. And now this is going to be for my mom. She's claimed it, which I'm very happy for, because the colors truthfully aren't really my colors. I don't know if they're her colors either, but she did seem to like the gold, and she does like purple. So anyways, I think it'll look beautiful. It needs a nice wash and a block like laid out so that the border doesn't curl and stuff, and obviously all the ends need to be woven in, but it'll be lovely. So she's gonna put that up at her house, and then that means I get to make another one for myself. And with that, like, you could totally use scrap yarns and just make your own. I thought about doing that, but I'm so how do I say it, controlling in a way. Like, I'm very picky about colors and stuff like that, and so I didn't want a scrappy version. Personally, I'm sure it would look beautiful. I just personally didn't want one. So good news is that I think it was last week on Instagram, I saw Janie Crow was saying that she had several people reach out to her and ask her, you know, if she could start, or like, yeah, if she could start coming up with putting together kits that are not acrylic yarns. I know acrylic yarns are much more affordable. Oftentimes they're more affordable, and a blanket is a substantial investment. This blanket was about $99 Canadian. You can get the kits on sale oftentimes from Mary Maxim. If this is something you're interested in, just keep an eye, sign up for their newsletter, keep an eye on the sales. You can totally get it for cheaper than that. But again, and I mean, people who have followed me for a while know that I prefer to work with natural fibers. That's just my preference, and I would love to do an all wool one. So Janie is currently working with West Yorkshire Spinners to come up with all wool alternative kits, which is going to be fantastic, because I've never used West Yorkshire Spinners yarn, although I do have some sock yarn that my partner got me last year. But I've heard good things about it. I've heard that it's really durable and it's, you know, quality wool. So that's really exciting. I don't know how expensive those kits are going to be. I can imagine that they're going to be more expensive than the acrylic kits. However, it might be something very much worthwhile saving up for. And, you know, there's nothing to say that we have to buy everything right when it comes out. So I think I'll be putting aside some money specifically for one of those kits. I'm excited to see the colors that she's going to come up with. I really loved her Eastern Jewels colorway. Again, it is all acrylic yarns. I think it's like Stylecraft or something, perhaps. But I thought it was so pretty, so vibrant, which isn't usually my taste, but anyways, I hope it's something like that or a whole bunch of neutrals. That'd be really cool. Anyways, keep an eye out for it if you're interested in that sort of thing. The pattern looks super complicated. I am not an expert crocheter. In fact, the plan was to get a blanket kit and to learn how to progress my skills. And I will say that this kit uses very basic crochet stitches. So in US terms, it really uses slip stitch, single crochet, double crochet, triple crochet, and just trying to think. I think that might be it. And I've talked about this before. The only thing that I found a little bit difficult were these little X's here. They're not hard. You just have to understand where you're putting your hook. And once you figure that out, they're super easy. So honestly, I know it looks so detailed and complex, but it really isn't. I promise you it isn't. So I highly recommend it. And the pattern is really well written, step by step, you know, everything. The only thing, like I said, I had a bit of trouble with was those little X's. I can't remember how I figured it out. I think it was just trial and error because I found the description I wasn't understanding. I just wasn't understanding. Sometimes I don't. That's just me. So anyways, yes, highly recommend. And I don't think this will be my last Janie Crow pattern either. She has so many beautiful blankets, and not just blankets. She has scarves. She has a few, shawls. Yeah, she has a bunch of patterns. Anyways, highly recommend checking her out. 2 years ago, I got this kit. Nightmare Before Christmas crochet kit. And my daughter, our youngest, immediately asked for me to make her these 3 characters. And last year I made her this one, whose name is Locke. It's a little devil guy. So they're basically, if you know the story, Nightmare Before Christmas, the 3 little kids are the ones who kidnap Santa. They're kind of bad, actually. Bad little kids. So yes, this was my daughter's favorite. My daughter's favorite was Locke. So I did him first. And then recently I finished Shock, who's the little girl, the little witch. She's so cute. I used I used a lot of yarn from the Persian Tiles blanket leftovers, acrylic yarns, to make these. And because although the kit comes with some yarns, it doesn't come with all the colors. So yeah, I love her. And look at her little hair. So you make that by just using like, I don't know how many strands are in it. Maybe like a 4-ply or something. Black yarn, and then you just tease it apart with a needle and it makes it all frizzy, so it looks like little witch hair. I like her the best, I think. In her little hat, she's got pipe cleaner in her hat, so you can like bend it whichever way you want. You can make it stand straight up. Anyway, really fun. And she has pipe cleaners in her legs too, but She doesn't really stand up very well. And I put a pipe cleaner in her neck, but it's still a little wobbly. I think I messed that up. I don't think I put a long enough one. So she's done. So then I went ahead and I'm going to talk about another work in progress just because I'm already talking about the others stuff. And I went ahead and cast or hooked on, whatever you call it, for the last guy. And this is his body. So I think I'm done all the crocheting. I just need to do the embroidery now. So this is Beryl. Look at his little fuzzy hair. It's cute. I'll show you a picture of what he looks like when he's done, if I can, without ruining the pattern. Here. So you have to go in and embroider the face and then all of this, all the bones, I guess. He's wearing like a skeleton costume. He's like kind of pudgy. It's cute. So yes, I'm almost done him. I should have him done very shortly. And my daughter she just loves them. So this was a kit I got, I think from like Chapters Indigo. I ordered it online. It says it was $33.99 Canadian. And it comes with 12 patterns to make, well, 12 of the different characters. I don't know if I can show you all of them, but here's some of them. So of course you've got Jack and Sally, and then the mayor, Santa. You even have Jack Skellington in his Christmas outfit or Santa outfit. And then you can make the Boogie Monster, I forget his name now. Oogie Boogie, is it? The three kids, the mad scientist guy, and you can make the dog. Zero, I think his name is. Yeah. Is that 12? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, sorry. So there's 11 characters, and then there's this, you could do this crocheted wall hanging. I guess of Jack and Sally. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Again, not an expert crocheter here, but I'm having fun with it. And as I mentioned, it doesn't give you all the colors you need. So, you know, it's nice to have, if you have any leftover yarns that are DK weight, these all are all DK. You can just use what you have from your stash. And I don't know if people care, but I use a D hook, which is a 3.25 millimeter hook, and I think it's the one that came with it. Okay, next finished object. My stepdaughter, my lovely stepdaughter Abby, got me some yarn for Christmas. She got me 4 balls of what did it call it? Knit It cable. It's 100% polyester yarn. She got it in 4 different colors. I think she got it from the dollar store because I could see the little dollar store thingy on it. It was very sweet of her because she knows I like to knit. So I was like, what am I going to do with this yarn? I don't want to just throw it in, you know, in a bin and, you know, not do anything with it because it was so thoughtful of her to get me that. So I went ahead and did a, what do we call it? Stash basket. It's by Bernat Design Studio. And this is it here. It looks a little wonky. Actually, to be fair, it is wonky because I messed up on the bottom, but it's totally functional. It's got little handles. And right now I'm just storing a bunch of my fiber from my braid study in it. So it fits 3. So this was the, I think, was this the larger version? I can't remember if I did the big version or the small version. Doesn't matter. You can just increase the size. It's a free pattern over on Ravelry. I think it links to another website or something like that. Anyways, I'll put the link down below, just like with everything else that I talk about. And it was super simple. Of course, I still managed to screw it up. I don't know what my problem is. When I'm going in the round, when I'm crocheting, for some reason, I didn't have this problem when I'm making the little characters, but with this basket, I screwed up the beginning of round where you can totally see. Here. See how, look at that. That looks ridiculous. Anyways, that's the back. This is the front. It looks much better. So the only modification I did to this was I made the handles larger, because originally they were like 3 stitches smaller or something, and it just wasn't big enough to get my hands in there. So this is super functional. I could see myself making more of these. This is a great way to use up yarn. You could do really fun things, like you could marl, or I just did stripes with the 4 different colors she got me. But anyways, yes, very fun. And now I can show her that I put her yarn that she purchased for me to good use. So the yarn was a super bulky. I used a J hook 6mm. And I think that's all there is to say about that. Okay, my final work in progress was a necessity item. So we needed a rug, I guess, or a mat for our front door. So I went ahead and went stash diving and found a bunch of, like, I have a bin of acrylic yarns from when I first started knitting. Oh, a long time ago when I first started knitting. And I don't know, I just keep carrying them around with me. So I was like, I need to use stuff up. I'm really on this kick to use my stash. So I decided that I would make us a mat. And so I found this linen stitch scrap rug pattern by Pia Tadani or Tadani, I'm not sure. That you basically hold together numerous strands of yarn and you create a marl. So let's say if you're holding, I think I did 4 strands, I might have done 5. Okay, let's say you're doing 5 strands of yarn. And it doesn't even really matter what weight the yarn is. It just, all that matters is that when you run out of one of those colors, or you decide to switch one of those colors, that you replace it with a yarn of equal thickness. So with that, I think I used all worsted weight pretty much. So I used a bunch of worsted weight greens and yellows and browns, and oh my gosh, it's really actually quite ugly, but the marling makes it look a lot better. Maybe I can't bring it over because it's filthy. We use it to put our boots and stuff on, but if I can get a picture of it, I'll pop it in. But so I finished that. It ate up so much yarn. I was really impressed. I actually ran out of all of those colors, so I was like, I can't even make it any bigger, and it actually needed to be a little bit bigger. I think it's on the smaller side. So anyways, I did that, and then I was like, well, I can make a bath mat too. So then I went ahead and I didn't marl, well, that's not true. I held together a bunch of different colors, but I didn't swap any out. I just used them until it was the size I wanted. And this is my little acrylic stash busting bath mat. And it's super cozy. I think for this one I held 4 strands together. 3 of these, actually they were different yarns, but they look like the same color. 3 of the darker turquoise and then 1 strand of a lighter turquoise. And I just, yeah. It's just simple crochet. It's a free pattern. I'll link to it. And it's called the linen stitch, isn't it? Linen stitch, but it's just single crochets and chains. Yeah. So anyways, super happy. I might make more. And you could just throw them in the washing machine, which is nice. That's always handy. And like I said, I don't really buy acrylic yarn anymore, but I have a stash of like random colors that, yeah, gotta find a use for them. Okay, so that's that. And that is it for all of my finished objects. And we've already talked about a few works in progress, but we'll go into some others. So I'm going to start with my Stevenville Crossing, which is a pattern by Jennifer Beale. It is the pattern that I'm making for our make-along. I'm knitting it up. Actually, firstly, I always like to show this little bag because I'm proud of it. I'm realizing how much crochet I've been doing recently in recent years. I didn't know how to crochet before. I can't remember when I learned. It's been recent, and I had to basically teach myself because, yeah, I just taught myself. But anyways, so I made this bag out of a bunch of granny squares. Super easy. You make 13 squares and then seam them up in a certain pattern, and I think it's a free pattern called Sweet Summer Sunflower Bag or something like that. Anyways, I'll put the link down below, and it shows you how to seam them up, and then you just add in straps. You go in and I think you pick up and add straps. So yes, and so stashed in here is my Stevenville Crossing. I am using, ooh, do I have any yarn? There we go, I have one. Lichen and Lace. Oh, can you see that? I can't see the name. It's weird. It's too light, I guess. Anyways, it's Lichen and Lace. It's their sock yarn. So it's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 100 grams, 365 yards. The colorway I'm using is called Linen. And I've had this, I looked back, I've had this in my stash since 2019. I had a sweater's quantity of it. And it is this really pretty color of, it's like a warm beige. It's got like browns in it, little kind of every once in a while. There's not really speckles, more like areas. So if I haven't already, I'll pop in a picture of what the Stevenville Crossing pattern looks like. The finished design by Jennifer Beale. It's very beautiful. It is an all over cable and lace, kind of, to me, gives off these like bohemian, very summer vibes. And yes, I can't wait to be able to wear it. So I think last I showed this, I was just finishing up one of the, or I had just finished one of the sleeve panels, and I was working on the second sleeve panel. Well, I've since gone ahead and finished both sleeve panels. So now we can kind of see what's going on. It looked a little crazy last time I showed it because the construction is so interesting. I mentioned this last time, but I'll mention it again. You literally start with just a square. So the square panel here, and then you pick up stitches and you build off of that square. So this, I have picked up so many stitches. I am like an expert at picking up stitches now. And in this light yarn, it's been really, really good because I can see where to put my needle, where to pick things up and stuff like that. It's been really good, actually. A good experience. I know some people don't like picking up stitches, but to me, I don't know, it's just part of the process, and I've been enjoying it. And it makes you like go in all these crazy directions, which is very cool. So like I said, I started with that panel, built off of it, and then you do end up joining in the round for a bit to do the neckline. Actually, the neckline's not done yet. You're gonna pick up, I think, and do something else. But anyways, this is the back, and this is the front. And so I'm working down the front right now. Hopefully you can see all that texture. Oh, it's so beautiful. Of course, it hasn't been washed or blocked, so it's kind of smooshed up, but it's a bunch of cables and some lace panels. And I don't know if I can slip it on. This is kind of how it goes. Of course, it won't be so bulky underneath, but yeah, very cool. Really enjoying it. It's not hard. The only thing I would say is that you really do need to concentrate. The lace panels, that are everywhere. These are super memorizable, no problems there. But this larger chart that I'm working on now with these kind of, I don't know, triangles here, those are quite, I mean, they're detailed. You got to pay attention. And so stitch markers are a definite must, but it looks so cool. Very cool. I am cabling. I normally don't cable with a cable needle, but for this one I am, for two reasons. Number one, it's superwash yarn, so it's quite slippery. I just don't trust that the stitches will stay in place if I don't use the needle. And secondly, there's some purling, which I've never done in cables before. I've never, just never had to purl for a cable before that I recall. Oh, it's always been knitted. So that is a little more complicated. I did try it without the cable needle, and I was like, without the cable needle, and I was like, no, not feeling it. So yes, very happy, really very much enjoying it. So I will continue to work on that. So you finish, I think I did read a little bit ahead. You do finish the front, and then you go in and pick up. So I had to pick up along here. That's the back side, but along here, all the way along. I have some stitches on hold. I put those on, and then pick up all the way across here. It was like something like 99 stitches times 2. So I'm like 200 stitches, let's say, to pick up, and then put the ones that are on the holder on the needle as well. So you have over 200 stitches on your needle for the front and for the back. But yes, very fun. Highly recommend. And what am I doing here? Oh, I'm using a US 5 3.75 millimeter needles to knit this. And the instructions for the cables and stuff are charted and written out. So that's good for those who prefer one or the other. I've decided that I really prefer charted. I find that so much easier. I was trying to follow the written instructions, and I get lost. Like I lose my place easier. Whereas with the charted, it's like a visual. I'm very visual. I'm a very visual person. I've learned this about myself. So when I can see the pattern before me and see like which way the stitches are leaning and stuff like that, I already know like that's a slip, slip, knit. That one's a knit two together, stuff like that. So I'm very visual, and I find that the charts work really well for me. And so because I'm using hand-dyed yarn, I originally, because I was knitting in all different directions and I didn't really understand what was going on, I didn't alternate skeins at the beginning, but now that I'm just knitting back and forth, I am. So I started alternating. And the way that I've done that, in terms of like color management, I guess you could say, even though they're all the same color technically, because there are differences, there are nuances in the skeins. I took them all out of the wrapper or whatever and just laid them out, like unwound their skein, laid them out and put them in range from like light to dark, which ones were the darkest. And then I basically saved one of the lightest for the front, one of the lightest for the back, and then took the two middle skeins, the next darkest, and put those, saved one for each side. And then the darkest one, so there's, I think, there's one that's significantly darker, I'm going to save for the bottom. And hopefully I can do the whole bottom with that. So far I've only used one full skein up to the wingspan. So I was able to do the whole like whoosh part. And then now that I'm starting the front, it used almost exactly one skein. So now I'm on the second skein. Well, second and third because I'm alternating, and then I just alternate at the edge. So there is purling because I'm knitting flat right now. So I knit one row and then do the wrong side row and then I switch. So you knit 2 rows basically and then switch. And that seems to be working. I don't see any significant differences. It's blending nicely, I think. There's a few stripy bits, but that's okay. That's the fun with hand-dyed yarns, right? So yes, very much enjoying it. Highly recommend the pattern. Will not be my last Jennifer Beale pattern. I've already purchased so many. I couldn't decide what I wanted to do, if I wanted to do texture or color work. Because she has a lot of color work patterns too. And she's coming out with, I don't know how she does it. She's just coming out with pattern after pattern after pattern. So definitely check her out. All right, so next work in progress. It's crazy. I have so many projects on the needles, but like only one active WIP top for myself, which is not like me. Usually I have a bunch of stuff on. I might be casting on more stuff. Okay, sorry. Housed in this cat hair covered beautiful autumnal looking bag that my mom brought me back from Ecuador is the cardigan that I'm making for my partner, John. The pattern, I think you can buy the pattern individually, but it's also found in this Lopi book, which I purchased because I loved a lot of the patterns. So I love this. I'm definitely going to make that at some point. And the other one I think I might make for myself. There's so many cute kid patterns. I showed this before in a previous episode. Where is it? Oh, it's the last one, I think. This one. Oh, I love those colors. The turquoise and rust and gold. Oh, so pretty. Anyways, I am making the Haust, which I've been informed is the Icelandic word for autumn, which is pretty spot on because the pattern is very autumnal looking. Okay, I've just lost it. There we go. So this is the cardigan I'm making. So John has asked that I omit the color work at the bottom and the color work on the sleeves. So I'm not doing that. So it's a lot of just stocking it, knitting in the round. It's knit bottom up. It's steeked. So you throw some steek stitches in there down the front so that you can cut it later. This will be my first garment steek. I have steeked a shawl previously, but never a garment. So this is a really good learning experience for me. And I've showed this before, and I actually ended up taking it out and restarting it because I realized it's going to be too small. So that's the thing with this book. I will say the patterns are not size inclusive. The largest pattern for this Haust size, I think, was 118 centimeters. And when I looked that up, it was 46 inches. And it's just not big enough for either of us. I have a 46-inch bust, so that leaves me no room if I wanted to wear this cardigan with anything underneath. And yeah, and John's not the smallest either, so it was just knitting up too small. So I decided, okay, let's do it. Let's do the math. I had put it in timeout because I just didn't want to deal with it. I knew it was too small. I knew I shouldn't be continuing to knit on it, but I didn't want to figure out how to make it bigger. Because like I said, I was knitting the largest size, which is the XXL. So I looked, the way I figured it out is it's so simple. You just look at the chart, repeat, and go, okay, how many stitches is the repeat? Oh, 6. Okay, let's add in a multiple of 6. So I added in 12 stitches. And when I did the math, that should equal approximately a 50-inch based on my gauge. So that gives us more room. And yes, so I'm using, like I said, did I say? I'm using a kit. I got the kit from Galt House of Yarns in Cambridge, Ontario. They have multiple, like a bunch of Let Lopi kits, and they sell the Lopi magazines. They carry different Lopi yarns. This one is, did I say Let Lopi? Sorry, I meant Lopi kits, because they're not all Let Lopi. There's Alafos, there's Plotu Lopi. Yeah. So anyways, this is an Alafos Lopi. I'm using the original colors because it's the kit, and I love those colors. And John's favorite color is green. He has green eyes. Green looks very nice on him. I think I need to get out of the greens though, because this will be his third green sweater. I've only knitted him. This will be his third sweater, period. And they've all been green. So I need to like branch out a bit. So this is how far I have. Like I said, I restarted it, but because it's Alafos Lopi, it knits up so quick, which is I think it's a bulky weight. Do I write it down? Yes, it is bulky. So the colors I'm using, and this color looks so much prettier in person. Again, this is called Highland Green. And then we have wheat. Oh, it's blowing out. Sorry, the sun has come out again. Wheat. It's beautiful, heathery beige color. And then amber, which is a gorgeous rust. And this is so interesting because there are, can you see all the blue? There's blue and red. It's just beautiful. But then far away, it just looks orange. It's very interesting. All right, so those are the three colors, and I'm enjoying it. It's a nice switch to have something that's, I don't really have to think about. Yeah, it's just stocking it in the round. And hopefully my aim is to have this done for next fall, so he can wear it. I'll show you the back. I don't know if I can. Look how pretty it is. It's a pretty standard, I guess, kind of Icelandic Lopi sweater, but I think it's really pretty. And I don't know, he doesn't know if he's a cardigan guy. That's why I'm saying, like, it needs to be able to fit me too, because if he doesn't like it, then at least I can wear it. Okay. Next work in progress is a new cast on. How do I show this? Like this. Okay. So last year, our family was going through a bit of a difficult time with the loss of a loved one, and a whole bunch of things were just going wrong in addition to that at the same time, and I was really struggling. And yeah, I was just ready for a new start, ready for the new year. And a wonderful Instagram friend reached out to me, and we were talking, and she was like, I always felt like the autumn equinox should be the start of a new year. And I agree that it should be like, I don't know, it just feels like it feels like a new beginning. And so we had talked about that, and she kindly, like just out of the blue on the autumn equinox, sent me a pattern that I had in my queue, one that I had talked about making. And yes, so she just gifted it to me with, I think she just said Happy New Year, and it literally made me cry. It was so sweet. Anyways, I don't want to say her name because I'm not sure if she's okay with it, but anyways, thank you. If you're watching, you know who you are. So she gifted me the Wayworth cowl pattern by Isabella Clark, who is Bella from 100 Acre Wool, which is a lovely podcast if you've never seen it before. Bella's so inspiring. She makes so many beautiful things. And yes, so I finally decided I was going to make this cowl. I've been eyeing it for a little while. Since it came out, actually, I've been wanting to make it. And I just wasn't sure about the colors because I really love the original colors. So I will have popped in a picture. Bella made hers in a dark brown with this beautiful gold and yellow contrast. And the brown and yellow I have in unspun just they didn't do it for me. So I decided to use, oh gosh, there we go. I used a really dark teal and this like golden brown called Manning. The dark teal is called Overnighten. These are two colors from Nutidin by Honor Akar. So it's an unspun yarn and it's really pretty. I really like it. And this has nothing to do with the pattern whatsoever. I just am not happy with the thickness of the yarn that I'm using. So I held it single. This is my first time working with Nutidin held single without anything else, like just by itself. And I know, like I've worked with Nutidin numerous times in the past. I've made several garments with it. And this was the first time I found myself getting like super frustrated. Like really frustrated with it because it kept breaking on me. And I was being so gentle. And so what I ended up doing, and I mean, this is my own advice. I didn't even take my own advice to begin with, which is hilarious. But yes, I rolled it up in a ball, and that definitely makes it more, definitely gives it more substance or makes it a little more durable as opposed to when you're working right from the plate. For me anyways, I can't work right from the plate. But it still was breaking. And I just, okay, so then I was like, okay, I could get through this. I could force my way through this. It's a beautiful pattern. It looks really nice. But let's see if you can see. Oh, you might not be able to see it. Oh, there we go. See the holes? Look how holy it is. That is not okay. This was my intention by making this was because I've been walking every day and the wind is so cold and I wanted a handmade like Nutidin cowl. And yet because I'm using it single-stranded, it's just too thin. It's too thin and it's making all these holes. And even though it's like the back is double-stranded because it's Colourwork, or it's mosaic knitting actually. It's a form of Colourwork. No, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. And it's frustrating me, so I'm gonna rip it out, but I wanted to show you, and again, nothing to do with the pattern. Bella's pattern is beautiful and well written, and there's a lovely like chart for it, and yeah, it's gorgeous. I definitely want to make it. This is not it. I think if I would have held it with mohair, that would have been better. I could try two-stranded, or I could try two-stranded, but I don't know. Anyway, it's got these pretty wrap stitches. That's what these are. They're so pretty. And then it's like a bunch of slip stitches. It's really pretty. And it has a lovely I-cord cast on and edging. It's really pretty. Anyways, I will make it again. I just need to rethink. And pulling this apart, actually this was like the third time I think I tried knitting this. I can see another like piece of it where it had started. I can't remember why I had to start over. I think I made a mistake. And then pulling it apart, it just breaks, right? Like, I don't know. I think some colors are thicker than others. And I think this teal is really thin. Really, really thin. Anyways, that's my story of the Wayworth. It's a beautiful pattern. I still highly recommend it. Just maybe not knitting it with a single strand of Nutidin. I don't know how Bella did it. I think she used a single strand. I don't know. Maybe her yarns were thicker. Or maybe I'm just too heavy-handed. I don't know. I feel like it would work better in Plotulopi. Plotulopi has more substance to it. it's not as soft. And the colors may not, I mean, there's some pretty plotulopy colors, but they're never going to compare to the hand-dyed Newtiding colors. But anyways, I think, yes, that's what I might do. I might go revisit with plotulopy or try and figure out if I can get some mohair that would work for both of those colors. Because I don't want to lose the colors either if I hold mohair with it. Okay, so that's that. And then also in this basket, I have been doing a bit of work on my granny square cardigan. No, sorry, not a cardigan. I don't know where that came from. Granny square blanket. Oh, there we go. These are all the bright, cheerful colors. So these are leftovers. Now that I can say this, these are leftovers from my striped April cardigan that I made last year. They're all made out of, actually not all of them. Okay, there's 15 different colors. 14 of them are Sonder Sunday Morning DK, which is a gorgeous combination of, I think it's 75% Blue Face Leicester BFL and 25% Masham. And then one of the colors, this green here, is a Georgian Bay Fiber Co. 100% Blue Face Leicester that I had in my stash. Georgian Bay Fiber Co. is no longer dyeing yarn. Unfortunately, they've closed down, but yeah, I loved their Blue Face Leicester. It was the first time I ever tried it, and I fell head over heels for it. It's a really lovely yarn. So yes, I'm making this blanket. I've talked about it before. The color palette was inspired by a Green Letter Day, who is a hand dyer. They had a blanket kit that they had put together. And so I really liked all the colors they chose and the way that they worked together. So I just kind of copied it, basically. I know people have asked me, like, how do you come up with your colors? And like, can you talk about color choice and stuff like that? And I don't think I'm an expert in that department at all. What I do, and like anyone can do this, is when I see a color combination that I think looks really nice, even if it's like a sweater, let's say on Instagram, that I might not necessarily like the pattern of, but the colors I really like, I save it. So I have a whole bundle of saved pictures that are called color inspiration, and I use that. So when it comes time for me to start thinking about, you know, the next color work piece I want to make, that's where I get my inspiration from. So basically I copy. Or in the case of my YAL, which I'm going to talk about. Okay, sorry. I'll finish talking about this and then I'll go on talk about the YAL. Anyways, so I used, what size hook am I using for this? 4mm, a G hook. Yes, and I feel like it's a little holy. Like I kind of wish it was a little, I don't know. Maybe I should have gone down a size in a hook, but it's really pretty. And see, okay, so going on tangents here, not a bad one, just off track. So I was watching It Is a Sarah podcast. Was it yesterday? Yesterday. I'm still trying to catch up because she films, I think, twice a week, like Mondays and Fridays. And so when her podcasts come out, I just save them all to a playlist. And then when I have time, I kind of like start from that last one I watched or whatever, and then watch a bunch and then delete them from the playlist and then add more as they come out. Anyways, so I'm catching up. I think I'm still in the 90s anyways. And I know she's at like 120 or something. I'm still in the summer of last year. So she likes to make granny squares, and she was talking about color play and how when she is like choosing for a scrappy blanket, when she's choosing the colors to make her squares or whatever, she just she tries to choose them randomly. I think like she'll just grab a bunch of colors if it's scrappy, she'll just grab a bunch of colors and put them together. And she she made a statement saying that, you know, if you're always trying to overthink and trying to plan what colors go where, and, you know, especially with a scrappy kind of project, she's like, you may be missing out. You may end up with a product that you've done before over and over and over again, and you might like the color combinations. She's like, but you're missing out on, you know, those accidental color combinations that you can discover this way by playing with them. And it's so true. I love that she said that. And so when I was working on my blanket yesterday, because I am the type to overthink and pre-plan, and everything has to be like color-wise has to gel or whatever. Like, I'm very particular about it, to the point where it's like overthinking, and just it becomes work. And then I don't want to work on things as much because I'm putting too much time and effort into stuff like that. But anyways, so I was thinking about what she said, and so I started grabbing like colors and putting squares together, and I came up with this. Oh, sorry for the lighting. This one here, color combination, which I really love. And I wouldn't have thought, I don't know, I just wouldn't have thought of those colors together. So it's like a light turquoise or seafoam green with a dark green, and then like a mustard yellow, and then a really light peach, I guess, together. And I really like it. And I like this one too, with the rust and the green, or the rust and the teal, but I knew I liked that. The ones that I'm not a huge fan of are this pinks. I don't know, the pink is so bright. Pink and yellow is nice, I guess. It's kind of bright. I like this square too. This is like a gray and rust, a cream, and a dark purple. No. Anyways, I just think that was great advice. Just play with colors. Play with them. Find some happy combinations. You might find some you don't care for, but you don't know until you try. Because sometimes, you know, you can think that two colors might look good together, and you put them together and they look terrible, or vice versa. You think they're not going to work, and then you do, and it's a happy surprise. So yes, I'm very happy with my colorful granny square blanket. And I look forward to working on that some more. Okay, now we're into swatches. I should have a whole segment called swatching, because that's what I seem to be doing these days. So not last podcast. 2 podcast episodes ago, I talked about the Starry Night long jacket by Sidsel Hoivik, where I had ordered a kit for. I'll pop a picture in of what the finished jacket looks like. And I had gotten some, did I show the yarns? I might have. I got some Hillesvåg Solja and Vilja. This is the Solja, and this is the color Lise Brown. Yes. And then this is the Vilja in the color beige. It's a really nice warm beige. So these are the 2 colors. And I did some swatching, and I was saying, yes, I was talking about the swatching. I didn't show it, but I was talking about it and saying, I'm not sure if it really is grabbing my heart, but I don't know. I think it was after I washed and blocked it. I was just like, yes, I like it. So this is the swatch, and you can't see all the nuances in the brown. Oh, it's so pretty. Just different tones in the dark brown especially. It looks so lovely. Anyways, so I was thinking this might be my new jacket. But with the swatching, I swatched on the recommended needles, and it is too small. My gauge is way too tight. which is shocking because I'm a loose knitter. Typically, I know my color work can be a little tighter, but I can't even get Mary Wallin's Colourwork gauge because she knits so tight. So I don't know why I'm having such a hard time with this gauge, which is way off. I think I was getting 28 stitches per 4 inches, and the pattern is 25 stitches per 4 inches. 25 for a fingering weight. That seems a little like, I don't know. Seems loose to me. And these yarns are the original, like the original pattern was knit up in two different colors, but they were Hillesvåg Solja. I don't think they were Vilja, but the Solja and the Vilja are compatible, like they're the same thickness. And so I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I might have to go up a needle size. But even if I go up one needle size, it's not going to be enough. And I don't want holes. Like, I like the fabric that I'm getting with this. So I don't know. And similar to the Haust cardigan that I'm making for my partner, where I'm knitting the largest size, I am knitting the largest size for this Starry Night long jacket. And so I'm going to have to figure out how to adjust it to make it larger because my gauge is so tight, and that might result in me needing more yarn. Like, I might not have enough yarn, which is a pain. So this one's been sitting too, and that's why I have to do some figuring out. It's unfortunate. Yeah. Anyways, so that's that. I'll talk about the Marie Wallin Yell just very briefly, but I think it's going to be my next. I think it's going to be my next cast on for myself. The only thing I'm not sure of. Okay, so this is my swatch. I showed this last time. 2 times ago. Sorry. So basically, this is the main fabric, and then these colors are the bands that would be like around the waist and the cuff. And I was gonna play around because some are really lower contrast. Like, oh gosh, this one here is quite low. But I'm not sure about this now because like I'm like the white. So these down here, for the most part, are Jamieson's Shetland Spindrift. The white and the dark brown are Holst Garn Super Soft, and it's definitely not as plump. So when I look at the stitches, like the Jamieson's, just like the stitches all blend in after, because it's been washed and blocked. They just blend in beautifully. But then, I don't know, the Holst Garn doesn't. You can see each stitch, you know? Doesn't, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too fussy. So anyways, color choices. Okay, so this is a case of I didn't copy anybody. Okay, no, that's not true. These two kind of copied somebody. I mentioned it 2 episodes ago where I came across someone who had done a white background for their yellow, and I was like, wow, I haven't seen that before, and it looked so beautiful. So yes, I kind of did copy that. She used a much lighter brown, more like a greeny brown. It looked really pretty, actually. Mine's a little more high contrast. But for the rest of the colors, all I did was I took all the leftovers from the Samfrey that I knit by Marie Wallin and took out all the colors that I thought were like kind of like autumny, earthy tones. So I left out, like, I didn't bring the purples and the pinks and stuff like that. I just took the more earth tones and put them together. That's what I did. And I played around. It's so, like, I think with color work, you have to be willing to play around. You have to, like, unless you're following a pattern where the colors are already defined for you, I think, you know, you have to be willing to just to swatch and to try it out. And it's fun. Like, I see why I used to watch Celia from Hanging On by a Thread podcast. I don't think she's podcasted in quite some time, but I used to love to watch her podcast, and she was always swatching, like Colourwork swatches left, right, and center. And it is fun, especially when you don't want to commit to something and you're like the other day, I was talking about this after I finished my Samfree, the all over Colourwork pullover. I was really craving more Colourwork, but I didn't want to commit to anything because I had a bunch of other obligation knits and projects I had to get off the needles. So swatching satisfied that. I just played around with some colors, and there you go. Anyway, so that's my yell, and that is probably going to be cast on sooner than later. I don't know what I'm waiting for, actually. I was trying to decide if I like the white or not. The white and the brown, if it's too... I don't know. I think it's fine. Okay. Put that back. I have a crazy knitting diary, I guess. Knitting journal that I store all my swatches in. And it's totally like bending my book. But I like to keep them in there, and I'm not super great about writing down all my notes, but I try. So yeah, I have some, this is from my Samfree when I was swatching. So pretty. They're like little works of art. There's a green one. Yeah, so I like to keep those. And one day I'd like to do, I've seen people who have those little cork boards and you stick your little swatches up so you can admire them. I'd like to do that one day. One day, okay, so that's that. And there is one more swatch. So if you were watching my Vlogmas, you'll know that I purchased my very first advent calendar. And I went with Wild in the Woods, which is a Canadian hand dyer. She's based out in British Columbia. And her aesthetic, I would say, is like earthy, moody, kind of cottage witch core kind of thing. Yes, and I've been following her for years now, and I think her name is Serena. And yes, so I was very excited when I saw that she had some advent calendars available. So I went ahead and purchased one, and then I opened up my colors. So you get 12 little bobbins of 10 grams or more colors on each bobbin. And then you get 2 full skeins, 100 gram skeins of other yarn. Whoops. So here's her little tag. Wild in the Woods. 100% rustic Canadian wool, local, sustainable, natural. 1 ply, 400 yards, 100 grams. So that's for the main colors. So these were the 2 I got to open on Christmas Eve. So this is a gorgeous natural, looks like a natural warm gray. And this one's a natural kind of warm light gray. So those were the 2 100 gram skeins. I wound them up because I've been swatching. So I'll show you the colors. These were the 12 colors that I got. I don't know if you can see all of them, hopefully. This one's a dark, dark teal. And then there's like some variegateds. Yeah, it's very beautiful colors. But I was like, how am I going to use these? What am I going to do with them? So I searched high and low for a pattern. And I was like, I was originally thinking I was going to do a blanket, but then I was like, no, I really want to wear this, whatever this is going to be. And it's, oh, the yarn is so sheepy. I love that. I love the sheepy smelling yarn. Okay, so I've swatched, but I have not blacked this. And this is what I've come up with. Can you see that? Maybe if I pop in a picture, it'll be better. So I found on Instagram, no, on Ravelry, a sweater that I think I'd had it in my favorites. Must have seen a version that I really liked one day. But anyways, it's called the Paul Klee sweater. And I think it's by Midori Hirose, who is infamously known as the designer of the ranunculus. So she has this colorwork sweater pattern that I think, I don't know, for my size, I think you're supposed to have 14 different colors in it, plus your contrast colors, so 15 altogether. I only have 12 colors, but I went ahead and I actually put in a row. I don't know if you can see. So the colors, so hard to see, but there's a dark, light, dark. I used the main colors as well in the tops and the bottom for 2 extra rows. So this is going to be the yoke, will be all colored, and then the body will be the light and dark. So now I'm kind of toying with like how I'm going to do the body, because I only have 1 skein of each. I only have 200 grams. So I'm thinking I might have to do short sleeves, and I might have to do some kind of like fading, but I find fading between 2 solid colors really looks stripy, and I don't particularly like that effect. So I was thinking of perhaps trying a fade of what is the name of that? I made a hat called the Koyame. I'll pop it in what I'm talking about, and you can see how the one color kind of fades into the other color. Almost looks like it's dripping. Like there's little drips, like little stitches of one color that kind of eventually get more and more and more until you're fully into that one color. Anyways, that's what I'm thinking perhaps of trying. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm not casting this on anytime soon. I think I just want to have fun with it and see. And I'm amazed at how well, when I first was opening up the colors and they were random, I was like, whoa, these are like, what am I going to do with this bright orange and this like rando pinks and purpley color? I'm like, I don't know. But when I put them in the squares together, I was amazed at how well they actually worked. So I just paired them up. Each line has, each line has 2 colors. There we go. So I tried to do like a solid and a variegated. So a solid, then this one has a little bit of pink in it, and there's the orange with a bit of pink, and then it leads into this like brown, dark brown and a light brown, a cream and a gray. No, that's not gray. The gray is variegated actually. And then there's like a dark gray and a purpley variegated, and then the teal and a teal variegated. Anyways, they actually worked well together. And these aren't particularly like my bright colors, but I'm not a huge bright color wearer, but I think, I don't know, I feel like I would wear this. It's really pretty. And it would use up all of the colors. So I think you need, it said you need 8 grams of each contrast color. So there you go. There's an idea. If you're looking for some way to use up an advent calendar and you have, let's say 12 minis, I guess, is that like a half advent? I don't know what you call that. Or just 12 random scraps. Okay, that is that. And I already talked about that. Oh, future makes. Okay, I'm sorry. This one's a really long one, but I had a lot to catch up on. It's been a little while since I've done a full episode. So with regards to future makes, I already talked about the yellow. Oh, this is kind of acquisition-y. I don't really do acquisition. I don't talk about stuff like that, but I talk about things when I'm using them. So I was watching Mel Made podcast, which is an awesome podcast. If you haven't seen it before, Mel makes all the beautiful things, and she yes, she's very much into like, I would say like intricate patterns. So she does a lot of color work, all over color work. She does a lot of texture. She makes, yeah, just gorgeous masterpieces. And I find her really funny too. I enjoy her podcast. So I was watching her the other day, her latest, and she was showing off a hoodie that she had made for one of her kids. I think it was her son, maybe? Oh my gosh, I can't remember. I think so. It was for her son. And I was like, wow, you know, my kids never want anything from me, like anything made other than toy things. They never want any clothes. So I'm like, I bet you, because our girls love to wear hoodies. That's pretty much, they live in hoodies. I was like, I wonder if I can make a knitted hoodie like she made, like Mel made. So I looked up the pattern that she made. It's called the Carter. It's by Kim Hargreaves. And I've never knit a Kim Hargreaves pattern before, but I've heard good things about her patterns. And so I think the pattern was only available in this book called Fall. So many beautiful patterns in here. I'm not a gray person. Like, I don't particularly care for gray, and all the patterns in here are kind of gray. But if you're able to visualize them in different colors and you're not a fan of gray, this book is pretty awesome. So this is the hoodie. It's just a really comfy, simple hoodie. Has pockets. I say it's simple. I don't know. It looks simple. It's just ribbed around the bottom. And there's some ribbing around the pockets. And then there's a hood, and yeah, it looks like just stockinette stitch. But it's made out of boucle yarn, which my mom's laughing right now. I can guarantee it. She's a big fan of the boucle. I am not a big fan of the boucle. So I don't know. I might have to look at an alternative yarn for it. But, and I don't want to, even though our kids love black, I do not want to knit a black hoodie. I just can't do it. I think Mel made hers out of black. I can't do that. No way. I'm over the black yarn. So I might have to find something like a little, I don't know, even if it's heathered, you know, as long as it's just not pure black, I could do it. But so I'm going to make that, I think, for our girls, maybe one for each of them. And then I'd love to make this for myself. Oh, can you see that? It's so pretty. It's like this cabled kind of cropped shirt. Woo! I will put in a picture so you can see it better. But it's called Taylor. And it's knitted in Pebble Island. I don't know what that is, but yes, there's lots of pretty patterns in here. Look at that coat. Isn't that fun? Look at the fringe on the bottom. It's so cool. Anyways, yes, very nice book. There's a hat, there's a bunch of sweaters, cables. There's some very classic, like simple but classic patterns in here as well. And yeah. And I don't think, did I read that right? That Kim Hargreaves is retired now. She's not creating anymore. She's not designing anymore. So I don't know. I feel like her patterns might be more difficult to get a hold of in the future. So I got that. And then I was watching, as I mentioned, I create playlists on YouTube for podcasts when I can't keep up with them. And another one that I wasn't keeping up with was Fruity Knitting. And over the holidays, I actually got through, I'm current now. I got through them all. I didn't start from the beginning and get through them all. I've been doing this over the last few years, basically. But yes, I caught up, and I watched an episode where Andrea was talking with Shirley Payton, I think her name is, or Payton. And she talked about the Knitwear Design Workshop book, A Comprehensive Guide to Hand Knits. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like something I need. It really kind of does the math. Well, it gives you the math to do things like to do modifications to your projects. it also is a good resource, I think, for designers, for creating your own designs. Anyways, so I've had a quick look at it. I haven't really like read it or anything like that, but this is the book here. And there are a few patterns in here as well, but I think, yes, there are. But mostly it's like how to take measurements, how to change things if you don't like, you know, necklines or armhole shaping, like converting different types of garments to other types. I think that's really cool because I really could have used this. I was looking through it and I was like, this would have helped me so much when I was trying to convert my Marie Wallin pattern that I knit, the Samfree, the pullover, all over Colourwork pullover, when I tried to convert it from knitting flat to in the round, and I didn't understand how drop shoulders, like how to measure your, the armholes and stuff like that. It would have been super helpful to have had this. It worked out in the end, figured it out, but this is a good resource. So I got that, and she also had another book called Duets and Inspirations. And now these are, when I saw the interview, they were talking about how she had, I think she had funded some, like, it was like a competition where designers were like amateur designers amateur designers were asked to take one of Shirley Patton's designs and create something new from it, like design something different. So for instance, on the back here, I don't know if you can see. So the original, I think it's the yellow one. So like this was Shirley's, I think this is the Shirley version. And then someone else, like an amateur designer took that stitch pattern and then like modified it to create this version, I think. So it's really interesting. And the patterns in here are beautiful. And there's a pattern in here that I have had my eye on for forever, and you cannot buy it. You can't just get the pattern. You have to get the book to get it. And I didn't know that, but I've had this in my favorites, I think, for a while, or at least it was on my radar for a really long time. And it's called the Sunset Skirt. Oh, okay. Let's see. So, I don't know if you can see, but it's all over Colourwork skirt. And basically it is, I'll pop a picture in so you can see it better, but it's a color changing yarn, I think used in the background, and then the foreground colors are just switched. Yes. So it's Jamieson's Shetland Spindrift for the switching yarns, and then the background color, that kind of color fades, is a County yarn, which I've been looking for, and I just love the colors. And so, oh, here it shows you the original. You see, here was the original sweater by Shirley Patton, and then this is the skirt that was created from that kind of Colourwork pattern by this designer, this new designer, Ayano Tanaka. Yes, so I really want to make that. I think it's really pretty. I think you could probably create that without a color changing yarn as well. You could probably just do bands of Colourwork and fade the colors yourself, but it's kind of cool how it does its. And I don't think you have to use the County yarn. You could probably use any color fading yarn. A Noro probably would work nicely too. Anyways, that's one that's on my radar. There's so many beautiful patterns in here. That's the dress. Oh yeah, and I love how it does show you like what it was based off of. Okay, like for instance, this one was based off of this like all over cable sweater, and then they just took that cable and put it kind of on the top, I think. Anyway, really interesting. Yes, they did. The cables were running in opposite directions. So the cables on the original were running vertically, and then she took it and did it horizontally, which is very interesting. Well, I haven't knit any of the patterns yet, so I don't want to say that I highly recommend or anything like that, but it looks like an interesting book. It's chock full of different patterns, lots of lace, texture. I didn't look at the sizing. Let's look at the sizing. Let's grab one. Okay, not sizing inclusive at all, which is surprising because they were interviewing a larger designer who was showing off her design on a larger model. So I would have thought maybe only some of them are. No. Okay, I'm not going to recommend this book now that I'm looking at the sizes. It's like extremely not size inclusive. Some of them go up to an extra large. Finished bust 46 inches, but a lot of them only go up to like a large, which small, medium, large. Not good. Sorry. I should have checked into that first before I started talking about this. When are designers going to get it? You know? Like, we don't all come in these tiny little bodies. It's ridiculous. Okay, that was it for my future makes. And now I will talk about spread the love. Wow, this is a really long episode. I think this might be my longest episode ever. So I'm just going to keep it quick. I have one podcast to recommend to you today. I've already talked about several others that I watch. If you're interested, you can check those out. They'll be linked down below as well. But I'd like to send a little special shout out to Carol from the Swatch the Space podcast. Carol is Canadian. She's based out of Alberta, and she's a fairly new podcaster. I think she's only on episode 4 or 5 right now. But yes, she's very interesting, and her daughter, I believe, runs a horse rescue center, I guess. They take in horses that have been rescued for various reasons and give them a good home, which is lovely. And so every episode, Carol will take you down to the barn and you get to meet one of the horses, which is really lovely. I love that. And yes, so Carol knits beautiful things, and she's a designer as well. She's got some sock patterns out. I'm not sure if she's done anything else yet, but she's definitely got several sock patterns that she's designed, and she is currently running a Colourwork make-along. And if you're like me and you love Colourwork, you may want to join in. So I highly recommend you go on over and check out Swatch the Space with Carol. And I think, so that is it for all of the making chat. I'm going to keep life stuff really short because we're pushing up on 2 hours here, and I don't think I've ever made it to 2 hours video. But so yes, we had a wonderful Christmas. It was very quiet. As mentioned, John's father passed away last year, so we were really missing him, and my mom wasn't able to stay with us for Christmas this year. She was only around for about a week. So we were really missing her, and it was really quiet, really quiet. We tried to make the most of it though. Yeah, we had some fun. We did some baking and, put up our little tree. I think our tree this year was the cutest tree that we've had yet. I don't know what it was about it. It was just, I don't know. It's just a really beautiful little tree. We get a real tree every year, and it smelled so nice. It just made the whole house, not the whole house. It wasn't overpowering smell. The living room smelled very nice. And it was I think it was a Fraser fir. Really nice. Anyways, we only took it down last week. We were late. So yes, all the Christmas decorations have been put away. So what did we do? Trying to think, I'm back at work. I was off for 2 weeks, which was nice, but I find it takes me like the first week to just, I don't know, to unwind finally. And then that second week is where I finally get to be like, okay, now I'm relaxed. And then it's so hard to go back to work after that. But that was nice to have 2 weeks off and spend it with family. And yeah, so what do we have? We have our youngest's birthday is on Monday. So we are just doing just a small family outing. We're going to go out for dinner to a restaurant of her choosing. She's chosen Mexican again. She really wants to go back to the place we went to last year for her birthday. So we're going to go there. And then she just wanted to have a low-key, like, let's go to the movies with my friends kind of birthday party deal. So I'm like, okay, that's easy enough. So hopefully on the weekend, like next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, I'll be taking her and 2 of her girlfriends to see a movie of her choice. And dinner. We'll do dinner and a movie, I think. And yeah, so nothing too crazy, like pretty laid back. We finally got snow. We had 0 snow for Christmas, which is the first in my recollection of that's ever happened in my lifetime. And it was really not good. It just made me really unhappy. I didn't realize how much I depended on the snow to make me happy in winter. I really need it. So now we're getting winter in full force, and we got huge dumps of snow where it was like nonstop snowing for like 2-3 days straight. And it was like constant shoveling, and my back is like killing me. Now I'm like cursing the snow. Like, you know, you had your chance. I like you for Christmas. I do not like you after like January 1st. No, that's not true. That's not true. My daughter loves winter. She's born in winter. She loves winter. So we need the winter weather so we can go ice skating and she can go skiing. She's got a big ski trip coming up. Her first like overnight with her class kind of deal, like out of town. It's going to be fun for her, I think. I hope. I hope she has fun. So yes, we've had lots of snow and lots of cold. It's been really cold again. And our furnace stopped working. We have a gas furnace for our heating here, and it stopped working on, oh my gosh, which day was that? Thursday? No, so that would have been yesterday. It was Wednesday. I work in the basement, and it's already cold down there. Like, I'm bundled up, but like I was noticing it was like extremely cold. Like I was like, I'm supposed to be going for walks every day, and it was so cold. I was so cold. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't even go. I'm too cold. And I just wanted to have a hot shower on my lunchtime to warm up. And I was like, came upstairs, and I was like, how come it's still cold up here? And then still didn't clue in because the furnace was kicking on. I didn't realize it was blowing cold air. So then I went downstairs after my lunch hour, went back down to go to work, and I sit right below a vent, and all of a sudden I feel like cold air blowing on me, and I'm like, oh no, like our furnace isn't working. This is not good. And meanwhile, like our house is getting colder and colder and colder. So I don't know exactly when it stopped working, but it was sometime that day. So anyways, John got on the phone and called the heating company, and they came over. They charged us an arm and a leg because it was like, basically they look at it as like an emergency call. It happened at like 2 p.m. or something like that. And so they look at it as like, you know, you can't wait for a normal appointment, so we're going to charge you a huge amount. And they fixed it. It was some sensor thing that has gone off. And this is the second time that's happened. We have a really old furnace, like it's on its last legs, but we have been told that by numerous technicians that come in, like we get it serviced every year or whatever and cleaned and stuff. And they always tell us, they're like, keep it for as long as you can because the new ones are not made to last. And like, if you can keep getting, you know, it's a little bit, it's not going to be as efficient as a newer one, but they said the difference is pretty much negligible on your bill. Like if you can just keep your original furnace working, it's better because they last longer. So we've been holding on to it. But as soon as it dies, we were planning on getting a new one and central air putting because we don't have air conditioning. And we struggle in the summer. It's quite hot, especially upstairs in the girls' rooms. Oh my gosh, it's sweltering. So we have portable air conditioners that we'll put up there. But yeah, that's a pain too. To have to put it into the window and it's just a whole ordeal. Anyways, it'd be nice to have central air. But, and I don't want to jinx it, and it might not happen, so I'll say that, but we are seriously considering moving this year. So if things align, the stars align, and yeah, bank interest rates go down, then we might think about it for sure. But we're keeping an eye on things, and we have a little wish list going, what we'd like, because we've been in this house since 2011. So we're going up on 13 years. Our house is paid off, which is really nice. Like, we don't owe anything or anything like that, but it's a small space. Like, it's very small. And for 2 teenagers now who are like, you know, they want to have space. They want to be able to, like, we can't even have, like, they can't even have friends over. Like, I'm sitting on a love seat. We don't even have a full-size couch in our living room because it's so small. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, poor me, because this house has treated us well and we have loved it for 12, 13 years. And we're very thankful to have a roof over our heads and to be in a fortunate position where, you know, we have our house paid off and we don't owe any mortgage. And, you know, we're very fortunate. And I know that. And I don't want this to come off as like ungrateful in any way. I just feel like we just need a bit more space. Just a bit more. You know, when your living room is smaller than an apartment living room that I've had living rooms in apartments. Every single apartment I've ever lived in has a bigger living room than this thing. And when you spend a lot of time there with your family, it's just, and the kids are not little anymore. It just feels crowded. And we don't have the space for like when my mom comes to visit and stuff like that. We have to kick one of the kids out of their beds. It's just, want to have a space, you know, space for family. Basically, that's why we're doing it. And so we'll keep an eye on things. And yeah, kind of excited about that. But we'll see if that happens. For now, I enjoy our little house with our furnace that keeps on going. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think there's really much else to talk about. I think that's probably it. And it's probably a good thing because it's 2 hours long. I'm going to have to edit this. And yes. Anyways, I will leave it there. I hope that you have the most wonderful next 3 weeks, and I will talk to you then. And until then, happy making!